There we
Is that better?
Okay, now we're on. All right.
Okay.
Ms. Hermish, can we get a roll call?
Yes, President Richard Richardson,
Present.
Vice President Lenny Fryman,
Here.
Member Janie Wilson is absent, Member Kevin Schaefer. Secretary Kevin Schaefer. Member Brian Johnson.
Present.
And School Board Member Aaron Shepard is absent. City Attorney Del Walden.
Here.
Present.
Appreciate it. We're calling this meeting because we have some additional claims that need to be taken care of, and I'll turn it over to Director Messmore to explain more.
Yeah, thank you. I do appreciate your time. The claim packet, I believe is number 4 from Max Claim. We have both of them, huh? Oh,
Yes.
this is the new one, right?
Yes, I have both of
Yeah,
them in
so
here,
claim
yes.
packet number 4 kind of got lost in the shuffle. Our fault. It was submitted on time. It just got buried in emails, and we didn't process it during our last meeting. And in an effort to, not hold those guys up from getting their subs paid for another few weeks, I asked to call the meeting just to get that claim approved. In addition to that, we do have pay app number 5 as well. So and I think you did get a copy of that, didn't you? Okay. So pay app number 4 is $208,438. Pay app number 5 is $201,032.50. And this is all within the GMP budget that we are working with.
Both are bills from Maxwell.
That's correct.
These have already been approved, it's just to pay the claim. So we've already approved the amounts in the contract. They just did a claim, and a draw on that with a % complete, so.
Correction.
It doesn't change the amount we approved.
Correction, it's actually 56 cents.
I just want to know who caught the mistake.
What, are you trying to single me out here in front of the world?
No, I thought maybe, well, if Maxwell hadn't found it, we might have saved some money.
We have put in corrective measures as well.
Just messing with you, Mr. Messmore.
I appreciate it.
Does anybody have any additional questions about the 2 claims we're approving this evening?
Where are these? Did you guys email these out in a board?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
In the future, if you could put it in an email before we approve it, that would be helpful.
Okay. It's no problem.
I would just like to be able to read it.
This isn't the normal.
My hearing ain't all that great, and sitting all the way down on the other end of this, I don't hear so well. So,
We'll be happy to.
Yeah, typically it's always
Please,
included
I
in
would
your
like to read.
packet. We would normally do this at a regular meeting.
Right,
but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, no problem.
awesome, thank you.
All right, do we have a motion to approve these claims?
So move.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any additional?
Yeah, I do appreciate you making the effort to get here. I know it's extra, and turns out being a very, very short meeting, but, in light of everything that's going on over there, I think they're certainly going to appreciate our extra effort.
3 years. We have 3 now.
I will also throw in there that we sold 2 more lots, 533 West High and 542 West High.
So that's 3 total we've sold?
That's 3 total down there. Yeah.
And they have fully complied with the building standards, and they were having a little trouble at the very beginning, but now people are building them with the high quality that we've included, so really excited about that.
So how many lots do we have left now?
We have 2 listed and 1 to list.
Because we voted to change that 1 lot, now we're gonna add it to
Yeah.
the Low Miller lots.
Is that the one on Mary Street?
No, it's 556 West High.
West High, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's small, and we had some interest in 236 East High today, actually.
Did the double lot is on the left-hand side, is that the one that sold?
Yes, the one single big lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it looked like a size of a double lot.
Yeah.
but it's- But it's one single
Yeah.
lot, yeah.
So that's good news.
It is, and we still, the way these typically come to us in redevelopment is that we a code enforcement situation, and so we haven't had any new ones for a while, but there may be some coming up. Code enforcement is kind of seasonal, but I know they're ramping up. looking at buildings that have been abandoned and, need to be cleaned up. So, we always want to work on both ends and make sure that everyone gets the best opportunity they can. So it's exciting to see, someone else maybe didn't want it anymore and need it anymore, and then we get it in and clean it up, and then a new family comes in and builds on it and lives there. It's pretty cool.
I think it's awesome. Good news.
One more comment, since we're here.
Does
And I was,
require an approval?
Yeah, they do.
We did it at the last
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah,
just
so
making sure.
Richard, we would ask for approval to accept the offers for 533 and 542 West High, noting that they've met
They've met
Full
the
price.
requirements, full
Yeah.
price, all that.
met all the requirements.
Well, and for, just so you guys know how we're doing these, and so you're aware, these will still come back to you for final approval on the design. So remember, the design requirements and the price of the lot are just the minimum threshold, so that's all we're approving now. They're gonna bring back to us the final design that you guys will have a chance to weigh in on and approve. So you get to look at it one more time. So the way we're kind of doing it is if Low Miller Group says, hey, these guys have met all the boxes, and we go ahead and approve it based on your general approval to do that and general approval of the minimum thresholds, then we bring it back to you at the very next meeting that we can, and you approve what you're approving tonight, and then it's gonna come back to you one more time before they build with the final design. So it's in 3 steps, really.
Member Johnson, you had a comment or question?
yeah, since I was absent at the last meeting, unfortunately, I was on vacation.
That's
It was
fortunate.
terrible. But did we have any discussion on the housing project over at the Durbin Plaza? Was there any discussion on
Yeah,
that?
we talked about that, yeah.
We did an
Yeah.
update.
Yeah, we are gonna go with, we are gonna move forward with another application for the tax credit housing application. We are going to, we agreed to switch partners, and we're going with Flaherty and Collins. They were the second presenter when we originally started this process with Model Group. And I went over it with council at the retreat, and I think everybody's on board. Everybody has a pretty thorough understanding that it's a long process. It's not terribly complicated, but it's just a long process. The application will be due again in July. Notification of award will be in November. It's a year-long process. So anyway, the consensus is to move forward with one more application on the tax credit housing project. That's certainly the most housing, the biggest bang for the buck from the city's financial contribution position. So that's where we're going. And then after that, we'll hopefully be successful. We did mention also last time that the IHCDA came down and visited Lawrenceburg after we visited them, just to get an additional look at the community. The scoring application is very objective, but just wanted to demonstrate that we believe that location is worthy of a project like that because of the amenities that are closely available to that population. And we took them around town. It was a nice visit, but we'll see.
So will this, how long has this been going on now? Is this like
This will be our
fourth year?
This will be our 4th application.
And do we have any comfort level at all that we're gonna get approved maybe this time? I mean, are we just,
Well, what we'll do, I'll tell you I know what we will do is we'll score ourselves before we do the application. And
which
if we
we've done in the
think we're-
past, right?
If we, pardon me?
Which we've done in the past.
Yeah, and we've been competitive. I mean, the scoring, we've been close.
How many do they award each year?
I don't know exactly.
Okay.
Well, that's the thing, we're always very competitive, and in fact, each year, if it was a different year, we'd have probably gotten approved, right? So, I mean, it is very close, we are very competitive, and when we selected the model group, like Mr. Messmore said, Flaherty Collins was the second, was the runner-up, but it was really 1A and 1B. They were both excellent candidates. So just because we've gone 3 times and haven't gotten it done, and this project's so important, that's why we're making the switch. But it really is, the scoring is just, and the scoring changes every year, and that's why Brian and the mayor have been going to Indianapolis, bringing Indianapolis here, just because we're working every angle we possibly can. And it's weird things, like Kroger is like 300 feet farther away than it should be, or else we'd get way more points, that kind of thing. So we just want the very biggest, very best senior housing facility that anyone could ever build, you know, on that spot, because we know that's what we need, and we know that that's the best spot for it. So that's been, it's not like we've scored badly, it's just, it's always a changing battlefield. So we just
Competing
keep fighting.
against other, you know, new projects, or some are the
Well,
one.
it just seems like the need is pretty real. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like, I feel like we just keep, you know, kicking that can. I just like to see something
I think you're
get
thinking
done
the
down
same
there.
as I am.
That's
You know, what about, you know, there's some, you know, in the community where I work up in Springboro, Ohio, they've got several of these like senior housings, assisted living type complexes going up, like right now, that are just, some that have been finished. I mean, have we visited any of those? And obviously, Indiana, Ohio's apples and oranges or whatever, but would it be worth like talking to them and see, you know?
Financing, you know, it depends on the financing matrix, I mean, and who's gonna contribute what to make those apartments affordable.
Yeah, I mean,
The tax credits put us in the best position, and, you know, without them, the contribution for the,
there's much more for the city.
or, yeah.
Yeah, right,
you know,
I get it.
because you have to pay the mortgage. So, you know, we're gonna give it another shot.
And we want the tax credit situation, because that means not only do we build it, the company runs it. So that's the important part, because we could, you know, if we had the money, we could just build it, but then we don't have this really talented and experienced group running it for 30 years. That's what you want. But I think you're right. I think Springboro is a great comp. I think Springboro is a really good redevelopment city in every way, because they not only do they do things like that, but they have a really good model for attracting business. So anytime there's something in Springboro that we want to take a look at, we should do that, because I think they're a good community to emulate. I think they do things really well up there.
Is there ever any interest from any, like, private groups that would want to do some sort of assisted living type thing?
That's the hard part, and that's the difference between us and Springboro. Springboro has such a bigger tax base than us. So we're kind of, and this happens with the city proper too, not just redevelopment. We get stuck in the middle because our community and our tax base isn't really big enough to attract a purely private development really ever for anything. And our tax base isn't big enough to kind of support the contribution. That's why redevelopment becomes so important, and that's why you guys are so important doing the redevelopment the way you are, because the tendency in the past was, because that was so true, that we would just fund the whole thing and really just kind of throw money at the wall like spaghetti and see if it stuck. You guys have kind of created that environment out of whole cloth, where you're bringing in the private developers, incentivizing it, and keeping them accountable, which is really hard to do because it doesn't happen organically. So that's why here, you know, the tax credit thing is more important for us really than a community like Springboro, because we don't have that tax base on our own to where a private developer would do a project like that. So when you get tax credit financing, that means it's a three-way deal between the developer, us, and the state. And you've got the fourth element, which again is that group that's going to run it and have people staff there all the time, driving the seniors around, giving them activities to do, you know, being there with them.
Man, I don't know what they offer up in Springboro. I mean, I just
Yeah.
know I just see these really nice buildings going up, and they're all seem to be fully occupied, and it's like there's people waiting to get in them. And I think it would go over big here. I think, you know, there's definitely a need for it.
Well, we'd love to talk to them. I mean, if you can get a contact
Yeah.
there, you know,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
mean,
Well, have we got a game plan? If this doesn't happen, what we're gonna do next?
I think we cross that bridge when we come to it. There's two levels of tax credit financing, and it's a much lower percentage if we go for a lower level. But then the third option is just for us to just pay for it. But I mean, that becomes more difficult, not because of necessarily because of money. It's, you know, okay, then you match up with a builder, and they build it, and they say, okay, here's our gap. We can build it, but there's a gap, and you guys have to pay the gap, right? That's what we're used to. But then we've also got to find the group to run it. So it's not just as simple as building it. Now we have thought of kind of a backup plan, but it's very important that we try this at least one more time because of the vast difference between us doing it ourselves and doing it through tax credit financing. It's just a huge difference, really more so than any other project we've done. It's specific to senior housing. We don't really have this kind of opportunity with any other kind of project.
It'd be nice if the council and redevelopment could get together sometime and have hey, when are we gonna, let's have a discussion here, how long are we gonna keep talking about this and applying and getting denied, or are we ever gonna do anything with it, or?
Yeah, I went over it with council at our retreat and had a pretty lengthy discussion, and then, of course, we discussed it here, so.
Yeah.
We're kind of on the same ballpark where we're thinking here too.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think it's worth trying one more time.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think, it's something that everyone wants to do no matter what.
I say if it don't go through the next time, we'll just have Kevin dig up some coffee cans out back.
That's right.
He could take care of it.
Done. Done deal.
You guys
Yeah.
have any coffee cans?
Now, we are going to make it happen. I mean, everyone, there's no question that senior housing is at the top of everybody's list, no matter if you're on council or redevelopment or anybody. So we are fully committed.
I could just see that filling up pretty quick, just like those the Whiskey River apartments down there.
Yeah. That's what we want. We want top level, top notch.
They've all got waiting lists. Any of like even the Edenburg over there, the waiting list we have on that. So it is, it would go over ridiculously well, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there is kind of a game plan in place. So if this doesn't go through this time, I think there's several different ways to handle it that we've been talking about on the back end. So hopefully, once we get further onto that point, and we kind of know where we're at, we can have that.
Actually, we
meeting
hope
we're
this
talking about.
happens. We
That's
hope
right,
that we get this grant, because it's gonna save us a lot of money if we get it. And that's the reason we all pretty much decided to go again. That's when he talked to council, that try it one more time, how much it could save us. So if it works, it's a plus for all of us.
Be great.
But the same thing, I mean, council yelled at us just like you guys are, Mr. Johnson, because it is important. Same thing, get this done. Why haven't we gotten approved yet? And we gave the same answer, but we're getting the same thing from council because it is so important to everyone. So your thoughts are very fair. I think everyone's on the exact same page. And if there is somebody in Springboro that we can talk to or anywhere, we'll talk to them. We'll talk to them now, because we do want to, like Mr. Richardson said, we've got, a backup plan, a couple versions of a backup plan, because it's going to happen no matter what, I think.
Yeah. Huh? We'll continue down this path until November.
Or unless we feel we can't score well enough. Because, I mean, it's a cost associated with the application process. Have to do another phase one and, all that kind of stuff, so.
What was it? I mean, like Mr. Wells said, Kroger's was what, within 0.3 of a mile?
That's an example.
I mean, that's just an example, but
This
that's
is one
that's part of what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was part of the reason we didn't get it.
but that's why they had them.
But it's
come
also who you're competing against.
Yeah,
down.
I agree with that too. But I mean,
That's what it is. There's
Give
so
me
many
examples.
variables. There's so many variables that you have to go against, and it changes like they're saying every year it changes. So
Yeah.
that variable may not even matter this time. I mean, it just, because you're getting points for whatever you get. So maybe that's not something that you need as many points for. That particular time, we did.
Well, that's why Mayor Milan and Director Messmore brought them down in person, because it's kind of one of those things where we see on paper how we didn't score well, but we feel like, yeah, we're a really small city, but we're a great city, and we felt like if they could come here and see it, that's different than just looking at it on paper, see our vision. I think it's a great vision, and, just because we're a small city doesn't mean that we can't have these great amenities that only big cities have.
And they are great amenities too, because I'll piggyback on that. If where we're wanting to put this particular building is right next to the adult center. It's next to the community center. We've got the ball fields. There's a little pond in the back. I mean, it's a perfect spot
Yep.
to
Well, we
put,
got the dollar store over there too, I mean.
Yeah, we do.
which is being remodeled, yeah.
Yep, and it doesn't count, but it should, you know, it does, but it should, kind of thing, so.
Close to the local shops downtown too. I mean,
Yep.
it's, there's a lot of positives to have it there. So you're right. I think showing it to them and having them see it with their own eyes, like this is a great community.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, so, and it depends on the questions and on the application itself, but, you know,
But they'll do the pre-scoring. They'll take it. Flaherty and Collins will
Yeah.
help us look at that
yeah, we'll do
to
all
figure
that.
out what it is, where we might land.
Right.
And I'm sure they wouldn't recommend that we move forward with it if we didn't have a chance at scoring positively. And I don't think the last group would have let us move forward with it if
No.
we didn't have a chance at scoring positively.
No, the model group was wonderful. They were excellent. They were very good. It wasn't their fault at all that we didn't get it.
So I say we stay positive.
There you go.
Well,
I
thank
like
you
that.
for giving me that update,
No.
since I did miss that.
Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
Anything else before we close out the meeting?
We still need that motion.
Oh, we need the motion for the lots.
Thank goodness, Kevin.
533 and 542 West High.
533, 542 West High, a motion to accept the sale of those two lots.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any other business before we adjourn? Questions, comments? I'll take a motion to
So
adjourn.
move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
I swore I was gonna keep Brian here later.
You're
I should
silly.
have objected.
Yeah.
Found it. Put it back on there.